Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Right Side. Doug Billings here with you. What a thrill to be back with you, coming to you live from smack dab in the middle of the fruited plain in the United States of America. And what a few weeks it's been, right? The inauguration, every day is a sunny day. Even cloudy days are brighter these days. We're all like children during Christmas time. President Trump is back. The golden age of America is upon us. I'm going to talk a little bit about that and spend some time talking about birthright citizenship, everything in that issue going exactly as President Trump wanted it to go. He'll prevail, and you're going to find out why here today as I discuss this with you. Before I go any further, I want to let you know we have a new sponsor. Really happy about this organization, too. 321 Mattress. 321 Mattress. They're based out of Kansas City. The owners of this company, just to be fully transparent, are friends of mine. But they believe in the show, they believe in the message, and they've decided to sponsor it. We're grateful for that. I am. And they've built something that makes them a perfect fit for me and for this show. Because many of you who have met me, or at least seen me before, maybe some of you have met me in person on the road as I give speeches throughout the country, you'll know that I have two sons, one a 30-year-old typical young man, great, married and all of that, living his life and becoming the better version of himself. I have Michael. It's the three of us. Michael, 22 years old, Down syndrome. 321 Mattress donates 25% of all of their profits. 25%. I mean, usually companies give 3%, 5%. On the rare occasion, maybe you'll see a 10%. 321mattress.com/Doug gives 25% of their profits to Special Olympics. And if you know my son, Michael, who has Down syndrome, you'll understand why this company is special and why I like the fact that they're supporting the Special Olympics. Michael is a Special Olympian, and he competes every year. We love it. We love going out to watch him and support him. And I would hope that you would, if you are in need of mattresses, sheets, pillows, anything associated with a great night's sleep, head over to 321mattress.com/Doug and do your shopping over there. 25% of everything you spend goes to Special Olympics, and we appreciate that very much. I do, because it helps keep the show going. As you know, we are all in this together. I'm a one-man operation over here. I'm not part of a big network conglomerate. We broke away from the legacy media a long time ago, didn't we? And this is how we get our news, from independent broadcasters like myself. We try to bring you, we succeed. We don't just try. We bring you the truth, unfettered access to opinion, and you become, as watching this show, you become members of the most intellectually mature audience in all of podcast land. So you've got that going for you. Another little perk of listening to or watching the program. But head over to 321mattress.com/Doug. Check them out. Check out their website, 321mat.com. That's MATT, 321mat.com. Check them out, /Doug. Don't forget that part of it. That's how the show gets a little bit of credit for what you purchase over there. That's their sponsorship for the program. 321mat, MATT.com /Doug. All right, Inauguration 2025 has come and gone. I was there, saw it, witnessed it, and it was the dawning, as Trump has said, of the golden age of America. We all feel it. Look, even people who, realize they had this awakening. I call them John and Jane Doe, the people who may have voted for Administrator Biden. They've woken up and they've come over to our side. This is part and parcel as why Trump won. We had multiple dozens of millions of these people who once considered themselves Democrats. But as you know, the Democrat Party does not exist anymore. It simply does not exist. They, on that side, have blended liberalism, communism, socialism, Marxism, all of the isms, and they are what I call the Communist-Socialist Party. So President Trump back now. We are putting anti-American liberal agendas behind us. In fact, around the world, the liberal movement is suffering and weakening and crumbling. You'll see that happen everywhere. It's clear liberalism is on the decline and conservatism is ascending all around the planet. You cannot deny it. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. President Trump and the MAGA movement is at the epicenter of all of this, of the conservative movement, and the people of the world are eager for conservatism to reach them. They want it there. Argentina, You'll see it happen. People in Britain are waking up to the atrocities of the liberal woke agenda that's happening over there. And you'll see the same thing happen in Canada, France, Italy, all of these places, Germany, where liberalism had gained a foothold is crumbling now. People are tired of it. It doesn't work. It brings misery. Well, it doesn't surprise you because their policies are always designed, liberal policies are always designed to bring about purposeful chaos and crisis. We can point to any number of things, and we will in just a moment, just to illustrate that point. But people around the world are eager for conservatism to reach them. You can count on that being the truth. President Trump is the only president, I might add, in the American history that has now achieved a higher popularity polling number than he did ever in his first term. His popularity is higher now than it ever was during his first term. He's the first president, the first two-term president to have that happen to him. Another first for President Trump, and it is no surprise. No surprise. In his inauguration speech, I won't dwell on it. We all saw it, I'm sure. He just obliterated the liberal agenda that was put forth by Administrator Biden and the radical liberal hierarchy. Every one of those people sitting right there in the Capitol Rotunda, and he was right to do it, to call out the atrocities of liberalism. During the last 4 years, we've all seen what these liberal policies bring forth. Every one of us has seen it. They bring about nothing but chaos and crisis throughout the entire republic. Now, the radical liberals in the hierarchy and in the bureaucracy appear to have failed to do any kind of credible self-evaluation as to why they lost this past election. They lost the election in the most significant political comeback in the history of planet Earth, and it appears as if very few of them have done any credible introspection and taking a look inward with credible self-awareness and analysis as to why their party lost. So be it. Let them continue to wallow and double down on the chaos of their policies, their platform, and their politics. We'll take it because it'll only push more people to us. I've commented on this particular issue extensively for the last 4 years. And those of you who have watched me, listened to me, you remember me telling you that every radical policy that has been put forth is designed to weaken and dilute the American identity. And, by the way, to create a new electoral base made up primarily of illegal immigrants for this commie socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. That's the entire reason that their policies, platform, and politics are created and enacted to create chaos and crisis. I mean, again, evidence of the obvious. It's sufficient to prove this to you. Look at their border policies. It's the most obvious one out there. Their border policy on the radical left has caused nothing but chaos and crisis. What about defunding the police? Chaos and crisis. Refusing to prosecute violent criminals with extreme prejudice brings about nothing but chaos and crisis. When they do, in the off chance, decide that they want to prosecute violent criminals, they often give them light sentences, more chaos and crisis. Or they let them out early, more chaos and crisis. It makes you wonder, is radical violence on the streets of America something that the Liberal Party wants? Because they certainly don't do anything to curtail it. In fact, it appears as if they do everything to encourage it. I put it to you, folks, I think it's evidence of the obvious. They don't prosecute criminals. They open the borders. What about inviting illegal immigrants into America, causing undue hardship and heartbreak to their families? Encouraging them to come up, traverse deadly terrain, and to face deadly drug cartels. None, and I repeat, none of the immigrants coming up through our southern border got here without having to deal with the barbarity and the absolute medieval evil of the drug cartels. None of them. They all had to face it. And this lies square at the feet of the radical liberal movement in America. How dare they subject these people to that kind of atrocity? Now, we're going to begin the deportation. We have begun the deportation process, beginning with the worst first, the criminals. All right. Now, there's going to come a time when the average immigrant who is a nonviolent criminal, but here illegally, are going to be rounded up. And we as conservatives have got to begin to wrap our heads around this and to offer countermeasures to the almost certain liberal narrative that will say something like, you see, I told you, Trump is the new Hitler. This is Auschwitz 2.0. They're locking up and rounding up innocent people. They're not innocent. Every one of them broke the law by being here illegally, and it is the radical liberal movement in America who encouraged them to do it. These camps will be humane. No family will be broken up unless that family chooses. I've spoken with Tom Homan about this. They will keep families together unless mom and dad decide they don't want to remain together. It's on them, but they will be safe, far safer in these camps than they were traversing the deadly terrain and facing the deadly drug cartels that they did when they were on their journey here. I can tell you that. So don't let the radical liberal media and the radical liberal narrative get ahead of you on that issue. There will be camps. We know that has to happen. We have to begin to document and understand who must leave, but who can also get back in line to come back in. We've got to begin to understand that, and there's no other way to do it than process them through camps. So begin to understand you've got to begin to countermeasure the liberal narrative that you're going to begin to see and hear about that topic. Again, chaos and crisis, the failure to respond appropriately to natural catastrophes, hurricanes, wildfires, etc. It's purposeful from the radical left. You think Gavin Newsom is stupid enough to let the water reservoirs go dry or the fire hydrants? He's not that stupid. He's many things, but he's not dumb. Purposeful, faulty policy to instigate chaos and crisis. Again, murder of human babies, advocating the belief in the myth of gender misappropriation, the myth that there's more than two genders, or that if you're born wrongly, misappropriated, your gender has been misappropriated by God. That's the gender misappropriation myth that the liberals put forward, and they put it forward to children. And children then become confused and depressed, and radical liberal adults will convince these children, well, the only way that you can possibly be happy, Johnny or Sarah, is that if you mutilate your genitalia. Now, those are horrible, barbaric words to say, but they need to be said. And this is exactly what the radical left policies say and do. It's barbaric. The only way that you can be happy, little Johnny, who believes that he's gender misappropriated, or Sarah, is to mutilate your body. That's in essence what the Liberal Party is saying. Purposeful chaos and crisis, the destruction of the family, another one. We don't need fathers in today's society. Women can do this on their own. Allowing men to play in women's sports. Folks, I could go on and on and on. My point is this. Liberals want chaos and crisis in America. What other conclusion can we draw? What other conclusion can we draw? They will be allowed to self-deport. Absolutely. But no, that's not better. I see it. Thank you, Sharada, for the comment in the chat room on Facebook. I see you. David Shalom, I see you also. Thank you for being here with us. I appreciate it. I want to get you a shout out. No, self-deportation is an option, of course. It will be. But is it better? No, because how many really are going to self-deport? That begs the question. Who's going to self-deport, really? Okay, I guess I'm here. I've gone through all of that trouble of facing the terrain and the drug cartels, and I've paid them off, and I've done everything I could. Yeah, sure, I'll go back. Yeah, right. Not going to happen. Let's live and work in reality. We have got to begin. Look, there's going to come a time when grandma, who works at the local 7-Eleven, or who works in the local factory, or who works wherever, who was here illegally, is going to have to go home. No quarter, no safety to anyone who has broken the law as far as getting here illegally. None. They'll all have to go back. Get in line and come in the right way when we allow the right way to begin again, because it's on hold, and it's got to be. We've got to get a grip. This doesn't mean, look, there is going to be pain, most certainly. And the images that we see, again, more humane than what the radical left put these people through. We've got to begin to get our head wrapped around that and prepare psychologically for all of that. It's going to be the same way when they shut down the Department of Education. We're going to see a lot of unemployment. Got to get used to that fact. A lot of pain for a lot of gain. We have become a wussified nation thanks to the radical left liberal agenda, and it's creeped in to some of the members of the conservative movement. Oh, let's just be nice and forgive them and let them stay. No, I'm sorry. If we have any sense or semblance of wanting to protect this republic, it cannot be that way. And I think that when we sit down and talk about this as rational human beings, the absolute unavoidable truth to what I'm telling you begins to shine through. There's no other way. Allow them to self-deport if they really will, but if they don't, we've got to get them, and we'll have to escort them out, if you know what I mean. So all of those reasons and more, American people, for all of those reasons, the American people have soundly rejected the liberal agenda. Absolutely. They have rejected it. And it is a mandate for President Trump and his administration going forward. Once again, liberals have purposefully and completely not only thrust chaos and crisis upon us, but they're misrepresenting the Constitution to us once more. And I want to talk about that in the last segment of the program here today. Birthright citizenship. It's probably the hottest topic out there with regards to immigration. And I want to tell you, President Trump hit a home run with this executive order because it did exactly what he wanted it to do. It triggered a lawsuit. That's what Trump wants. This thing has got to get in front of a court. Now, the court may side with Trump or it may not in the lower courts. It's going to work its way up to the Supreme Court, and it is there that Trump will prevail on this topic, and I'll tell you why. In order for people to have children who become United States citizens, the parents, now I'm going to go slowly through this. I'm going to talk about the Constitution and quote the 14th Amendment to you, because this is what the liberals are misrepresenting to America and to the world. Yes, Diane Lindquist, I agree with you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate deportation is being done exactly as it should be. Thank you, President Trump. And thank you, Claire Hayes. I see you out there. Adrian, I see you. Thank you. The 14th Amendment. For children to be citizens, the parents of the children have got to be under the jurisdiction of the United States. They have got to be, in other words, look, illegal immigrants are not under the jurisdiction of the United States as citizens. They're they have to follow our laws. If they're here, they can't just go run rampant and break laws. We're seeing that happen, aren't we? Many illegals are breaking our laws. They're being locked up for it. So just because you're not technically under our country's legal jurisdiction doesn't mean that you can come here and just not obey the law. So they are under the jurisdiction, all of these illegals, they are under the jurisdiction of their country of residence or their home country, not the United States. Not until they become citizens, right? It's important to know the difference, and it's important to understand this. Birthright citizenship through this executive order will go to court. Exactly what President Trump wants. It's a lawsuit, and it's going to go eventually, it'll land on the Supreme Court's docket. The 14th Amendment. All right. Slowly, I'm going to read the key portion of this. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, here's the important words, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and the state within which they reside. Now, regarding illegal immigrants, only naturalized citizens or children of United States citizens can become United States citizens. Illegals are not under the jurisdiction of the United States. They're under the jurisdiction of their home country, the citizenship jurisdiction. Now, this was all interpreted by the United States Supreme Court back in 1898 in a case called the United States versus Wong Kim Ark. The United States versus Wong Kim Ark, 1898. You can look it up. And it ruled that children born to legal immigrants are automatically United States citizens at birth. And that's correct. As soon as these parents become citizens, their children are also citizens. Now, in the ruling, it said these parents and children who are subject to the jurisdiction thereof excludes children that are undocumented, children of immigrants, etc. So immigrants children from immigrants don't have an automatic birthright citizenship. It is another myth and misrepresentation that the radical left is putting forward. Under the 14th Amendment, illegal immigrants and their children are not, quote, under the jurisdiction of the United States, end quote. The United States Supreme Court, when this lands on their docket, is going to side with President Trump. No doubt about it, in my view. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball, but I mean, we read the language, you understand the intent of the founding fathers, which is another thing the radical liberals never seem to do appropriately. You read their, not only their public writings, you read their private writings, their journals, their diaries, you look at their speeches that they gave. The founding fathers had rigorous debate about this issue, and they decided that in order for people to become citizens of this country, they become naturalized through the immigration process, the legal immigration process. And then those people who have children, their children are citizens. Absolutely. That makes sense. It's the question about people here illegally. They are not, again, in the words of the 14th Amendment itself, these people are not under the jurisdiction of the United States as far as citizenship is concerned. And that's where the Supreme Court is going to say, President Trump, you're right. President Trump didn't just write this executive order on a whim. You can better believe that throughout the campaign, I'm sure that my friend Will Scharf over on the Missouri side, who's the White House secretary, who's the guy handing President Trump these executive orders, as you see him sign them, that's Will Scharf, good friend of mine, handing President Trump the executive orders, and Will Scharf is the one reading what the executive order summary is. I'm sure that Will Scharf and the legal team within the White House gave great thought to this, and they understand that this is their tactical strategy, to write the executive order, ban it, have it get challenged. They expected that, of course, and then it goes to court. And we may, as we saw with President Trump in his other court hearings and situations, we may see a lower court vote against Trump. That will get appealed. It'll go to a higher, more reasonable, and as I say, intellectually mature court. And then it'll finally work its way to the Supreme Court, and they will side with President Trump. And the language is clear. The only thing muddying it up is the opinion and the lies of the radical left. So it is absolutely amazing. And I agree with you, Sarada. I agree that the surge of energy in this country is amazing since the election of President Trump. It, like I said at the beginning of this show just a moment ago, the sunshine is brighter even on a cloudy day around America and around the world. And you're noticing the difference. Trump knows the game now. He prepared for this. Everything he's doing is by his design. Everything from his vice president choice, who J.D. Vance is a home run. He's a rock star. And if he plays his cards right, he'll be in the White House in 2028 and 2032. So we'll have 12 years of occupancy of a MAGA conservative Republican in the White House, if everything goes according to plan here, right? Well, a lot of people still continue to wake up to the atrocities of the radical liberal left. And I would put it to you as I close out today. Think of this birthright citizenship. Get out the 14th Amendment and review it and look at the words under the jurisdiction thereof. And you try to convince yourself that illegal immigrants are somehow under the jurisdiction of the United States citizenship protocols. They're not. They're under the jurisdiction of their own home country or their country of residence, whatever that may be. And therefore, their children have no birthright to American citizenship. I think it's pretty cut and dry once you look at it, once you read it. We'll see, of course, what happens. You can never really predict where the court's going to go, but it looks fairly simple, especially when we have precedent from the other case, United States versus Wong Kim Ark, back in 1898, where they decided the same way. So it will be interesting to see, and I think that it's going to be a great victory for President Trump again and the country. You know, again, I'll end where I began. The reason that the liberals are putting these things forward, these policies, was because they wanted chaos and crisis. There's no other conclusion that we can draw, my friends. None. Borders open, defunding the police, the attack of the family, no, hardly any rigorous prosecution of violent criminals. They want in no response to natural catastrophes. I mean, come on. They didn't respond appropriately to hurricanes. They don't respond appropriately to wildfires. Why is it? Why do they want the chaos? Because they think and they believe that in moments of crisis, they don't want you to become dependent on anybody except big government. The more chaos and crisis that you face, they believe, the more you are inclined to depend on big government. The government was not intended to be, the savior here. It had three primary responsibilities, according to the founding fathers: our security, defense, military, foreign relations, and a meaningful police force to keep our citizens safe. Those were the three and only three pillars of the federal government. And now look where it is in your life. It's everywhere you turn. Those days are over. President Trump, just to give you a little glimmer of hope, you're going to see the Department of Education go away. You know that. He's already said it. Look for the Department of Energy to go away too. The Department of Interior, those powers all returned to the states. States have beautiful natural parks. The federal government has no right to be managing those parks. Leave that up to the states to manage. Thank you very much. The states can apply for federal funding and so forth, but the states manage it. The federal government gets their mitts out of this stuff. You'll also see President Trump make almost immediate plans to begin the work of withdrawing from the World Health Organization. He's already signed an executive order to stop the United States money to going to it. He's going to withdraw. And then, and here's a big one for you, withdrawing from the United Nations. Watch for it. Watch for it. And then sometime in the last year of his presidency, I think you'll see the groundwork being laid to leave NATO. Just watch. I'm more certain of the UN move than I am NATO, but watch. I wouldn't be surprised either way. You'll see great things coming down from Pete Hegseth in the Secretary of Defense role. We have Kash Patel coming up this week to be confirmed as FBI director and the Department of Justice director. Wouldn't that be an incredible change and a welcomed one at that? So much hope, so much change. I agree with you. I agree that we will see I think the greatest thing happening, and really conservatism is about taking care of each other. It's the radical liberal movement in America that is out to destroy. Look what they've done. Look how dare they invite and try to encourage people to come up and face drug cartels that will take money, traffic children. There are 365,000 missing children in this country precisely because of liberal ideology, policies, and their platform. Undeniably so. Examples of that are plentiful. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. Conservatism is the way that we bring the country together and we unite. And the thing is, we just saw an election where multiple dozens upon dozens of millions of people who were once considered themselves part of this Democrat Party, which doesn't exist anymore. It's the Communist Socialist Party. They're not a pro-America political party. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, a brighter day in America, and we are prevailing. We're going to continue. The golden age of America is upon us. Everyone can feel it. And the only people that would say something negative about it are the people who are either vastly intellectually immature or plagued by chronic partisanship. Those are the only ones that will spew out negativity about this. It's impossible, if you have any shred of intellect, to see this as a negative. It's all for the America First movement, the patriotic America First movement. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, 321MATT, MATT.com/Doug, 321MATT, MATT.com/Doug. Go over there, check out the best sheets, pillows, any sleeping accessory that you can dream of, pun intended. And 25% of your bill over there will go towards the Special Olympics. A very special group over there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back with you tomorrow. God bless you. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.